Fantastic. Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome back to my Planet Coaster Let's Play, where we are still in 1955. We've finished Lose Calf, and people will start be using that soon, so when they do start using it, we'll have a look and see how that goes. But for now, we're going to get on with the main central feature of Courthouse Square, and that is the courthouse itself. Now, it took me a little while to exactly decide where I wanted it, but I had to make sure that I got it smack bang in the middle, just where I wanted it. But when I finally got it exactly where I needed, the first tile I was off, and the rest of the walls were built quite quickly. Now, of course, you can tell here, this is not me being super mega quick, this is a time-lapse. And I felt that it was appropriate to do this particular one in a time-lapse. I have built the Courthouse Square before, in Alpha before the game came out, but since then I've learnt a lot about different ways to build and different ways of building, so also the copying and moving of objects. I'm so much better than that than I was previously, so I thought I could get this done quite quickly, and I did. I think I managed to get it done in something around 35 minutes, and that's with a lot of tinkering and playing around. I didn't really have much of a plan. I was just going for it. Yeah, I have a reference picture, but I hadn't decided exactly what bits I was going to use, and you can see here where I'm looking through the parts trying to decide what I want to put in and where. Now, there is a piece of trim across the front here that we'll need to put in, but as you can see here, I'm checking out parts that I haven't seen before. If I see something in the menu I haven't seen before, I take it out and have a little look at it. Just to you know, get it into my mind and think whether I'd need it again in the future. So now the iconic 4 pillars across the front. Now getting the first one in place is easy, and once you've got the first one in place, you can just copy that and clone it across. I'm just making sure it's perfect there, and then we clone it over with that button there, and away we go. Now, if I remember correctly, there didn't used to be a button there. I think it was just a key combination. But there's definitely a button there now. Now for this bit, I just used my eye, and I just thought where roughly they wanted to be. I did have the squares on the ground as a guidance, and I thought with 4 wide, then maybe it wants to be 1 and a third in, or something like that. But I was just using a bit of my own estimation and guidance. I will say with this build that I do tend to use my eyes quite a lot on it, and I don't measure quite so much, but eventually I found the piece that I was looking for to make the steps out of. Now, unfortunately, the kind of ratio of height to width of the object of the step I was using was not perfect with the ratio of the angle of the slope that it's up against, meaning that the stairs went down faster than the slope on the side. But that wasn't too much of a worry. I was going to fix them up a little bit later anyway, because they're not exactly how I wanted them. But doing this without using this copy technique that you can see me doing here when I copy drag, you can see put the first one in place and then just copy drag it across like this. It takes forever to get it, you know, absolutely perfect if you're not doing it using this method. And the first time I made it, oh god, I did, and it was a pain. It really was. Now we've been left with a little bit of a gap here between the steps and the pavement, and I wanted to fill that in with something, but I couldn't decide what, so I left it. I decided to leave it there, and that I'd come back to it a little later. So now just making the walls for the steps a little bit thicker, and we're going to move on to the main front wall itself. You can see there all the fairground rides spinning around in the background for our starting park, and I've made a bit of a decision about that. So that starting area over there, I decided was going to be like the present. It was going to be the time zone which Marty initially left from. It's where the movie is actually mainly set. However, I've decided not to build another Courthouse Square. For the Wild West, so Back to the Future 3, and also for Back to the Future 2, I am going to build another Courthouse Square. I'll probably clone a lot of this and then chain it over and just do lots of modifications. But when it comes to the main one, I felt that the Twin Pines Mall would be more appropriate. So we're going to be building and putting together a Twin Pines Mall at the front once we have some money being made in this area. So the roof here I wasn't quite sure about. I don't think you really get a good look of the courthouse roof in the film. Not that I can remember anyway. So the roof really doesn't matter. Whatever appeared to fit with the bricks, and I'd kind of committed myself with these bricks. There was another set of brick walls that I felt that really did kind of match what it could be, and I was trying to remember which one of the courthouses from which film was what colour, because it did actually change for one of them, I think. I think the future one, it got a more of a kind of a lime rendering almost. I'd have to double check to look that out, but it is certainly a very iconic thing. It's been used in other films as well. You can actually see Courthouse Square in the film Bruce Almighty, and then I found a seagull floating in the air. It kind of distracted me for a second. In Bruce Almighty, some point towards the beginning of the film, after he's got the powers, when he's running, I think he's running down the street at some point. He actually runs through Courthouse Square. So there we go. Putting these now these trims were a bit of a pain, because they're designed to be the length of the width of a piece of wall, which generally is good. But when you get to a corner, what do? You would have to make it stick over, hang over, and here's me trying to put an extra piece in place so that I can get them all to marry up perfectly. And with the shape of the actual bevel on the bottom there, I don't think it's really going to be something that I was able to do. So after thinking about it for a while, I decided just to see what I could do as a best effort, and I ended up just having them overlapping slightly and then readjusting the bit on the end so that it looked a lot better. So a bit of trim across the front there. This trim was actually quite nice. It worked quite well with the brickwork, the roofing, and the columns as well. So here's me fixing now, trying to get that corner as best as I can get it. It's not perfect, but it'll do. Again, trying to get these bits to overlap in a way that it doesn't make it look horrendous, and then just filling in that little gap there. So now it is just a matter of getting things sorted out on this one. Like I said, I've built this once before, but I wasn't using my previous one as a reference. And the reason why I didn't use the previous one, because I did actually save a blueprint of it, is for some reason there's a part in it which I haven't got. Now, I have researched I think I've researched all of the actual different scenery items in this particular one, but a viewer of mine told me that when you're playing in this game mode that I'm in now, that certain parks don't have access to all of the bits, and I'm like, what? So for instance, this particular Alpine one that we have here, it has the Alpine set and building scenery and a few others, including the festive ones and so forth, but it doesn't have all of them. There's ones that it doesn't have, and that's probably why my blueprint just didn't work. Well, never mind. It gave me the opportunity to not only build a new one but improve upon my previous design. So I do feel that my overall finished product on this one was a lot better than the last time I did it. These little grey pillars that I put here in the corner, they're not really on the actual building in the film, but I felt that they were a nice piece of trim that did set off it quite nicely, and it did actually make the corners look a lot better as well. So there you can see I actually finished the front step walls now, and that is exactly how I wanted it to be in the first place. I don't know why I didn't do it at the time, I just didn't, so there we go. Again, putting pieces of trim on. I felt that I spent most of my time on this build just putting bits of trim down, and I'm just thinking to myself, if I wasn't using this copy and clone technique here to move things along, it would be horrendous. Anyway, I got to this point and I started rotating them around so that I could then trim them on this side, make sure they're all perfect height. Again, the corners are a bit of a problem, but with this one what I decided is that I was going to get the corner piece and have them completely overlap to almost create a piece of corner detail. Popping the bit on the top there and doing the same down this side didn't take too long. Once I decided how I was going to do something, it didn't really take too long to put down. Like I said, the overall time of the build was roughly 35 minutes, and yeah, now I'll come to the bit that I found the hardest. So up to now, things have been as I want them. You know, I've wanted a column that looked round and cool, I got a column that looked round. I wanted to put a bit of trim on the bottom, I got a bit of trim on the bottom. These windows, I find it really difficult to find a window that was perfectly fitting with what I wanted. In the end I went with these ones and sunk them into the trim because they were really the closest I could do. Now the ones at the top here, they were about the right shape and size, so I was happy with that. I'm just using the little white lines that come off the advanced moving tools there to actually put it in place. There we go, just right. So after I'd got all the windows in line where I wanted them to be, it was then time to turn my attention to a bit that I've been looking forward to, and that is the central doors. Now I wanted the central doors in the middle there because I felt that it just kind of finished it off. It kind of, I mean, it's a very central part of the building. It's very important. Now also, whilst I'm looking at the central doors and windows, I find this kind of floodlight, and I decided it was a good placeholder for the clock in the clock tower. Now this bit of moulding was pretty much what I was looking for here. It was needed to kind of convert these windows into something that was a little bit more what it should be rather than what it was. So pop them on there, and I felt that that really did kind of put the shape to the windows that they really needed. Now I was just checking around, trying to see if there's any other bits that really fit in, and there wasn't. There was a cannon hole, but I didn't want that. So once we finished those bits, it's time to put the windows near the doors, and this was quite easy because these particular windows here I felt were the right kind of windows. They were very well matching, and again using the copy tool to just bring it across and put it in place. Just double checking now to see if there wasn't any other windows that I could have used. Not a massive amount of windows on there. I do wish that there was some more windows in this game. So now on the top of the clock tower there are a couple of gargoyles. They're kind of creatures, or I think they might actually be panthers, come to think of it, in the actual film. However, we don't have panthers, so the best I could come up with was these dragons. They actually fit the bill quite nicely. They do the job, and I don't know why I was trying to put this in place here, because I was always planning on removing it and putting a clock there. I think I just wanted to see what it was, but I didn't know where the clock was in the scenery, so I was going to have to go hunting for it later on. Now is the turn for the little windows, or the little doors that are up on the top there. Now this is one of the ones where Doc climbs through so he can get access to that top tower and connect the hook for the lightning bolt to go through. Now I do want to actually rig something up with that at some point in the future on this game, but we're not doing that for now. We're just building the building. Now next episode what I'm going to do is put something inside this building. You see, it took me a while to find out where that clock was, and then when I found it, the statues were in the way, so I'm going to have to replace them. But yeah, next episode what we're going to do is we're going to put this building to use. We're going to put something inside it. I don't know what, whether it's just a station for like some sort of roller coaster or something like that. I don't know, and I'd like to leave that up to you guys. So put your thoughts, ideas and comments down in the comments section on this video, and let me know what you think I should use the courthouse for. Should we have like a static small ride inside it? Should we use it as a station for a large ride? Perhaps we could use the new go-karts and integrate them somehow. Leave your comments, let me know what you think, and we'll have a look at that next episode, and we'll put this building to use. You see, now I'm just doing a little bit of decoration. These items of foliage would come with the building when I put it on the Steam Workshop. It might not be how I ultimately leave the decoration, but I felt like I needed something there, just so that it's kind of matched in with the park a little bit. After the camera went crazy, I put a bin in and turned my attention to this gap in the grass now. It's really something that needed sorting out, and I tried to get the path and work a way for the path to kind of link up to it or go into it, but after a lot of fiddling around I couldn't really think of a way of doing it, and if I did I was worried that the peeps would walk through the steps and into the building along the path. And I thought the only real way to do this was to actually leave the path as it is. You can see the path going inside the building there. I don't think it's really the best solution, so we fixed the path, put it back to how it was, and then we're going to be using some of the scenery pieces here. We're just going to put a panel in place. We're going to pick a nice little grey for it to be, and then we're just going to lower it and put it into position. Now it did take me a while to decide exactly how I was going to have this, but I wanted the curb to be hidden, but that was about it. I wanted to only just peek through. There we go. Now here I noticed that the path's curb's broken, so I just nip in there and fix that by replacing it. and then we go and just fix the bit that I just placed. A lot of fixing and doing on this one, but there it is. It's now in position, so of course I can use my clone tip and put it across there, make sure it's not peeking through the wall, and there we go. That actually fits in quite nicely. It marries the two little bits up. It is a bit shiny, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So there we go, the finished courthouse for this particular park. I'm quite happy with it. It is exactly how I wanted it to be. It's not 100% to kind of ratio. It's a little bit wider than what the courthouse should probably be. But overall, I feel that the columns, the spacing, the windows, they match up to how it is in the film quite nicely. So there we go, thank you very much for watching. Remember to leave your comments in about what we can use this building for, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, take care, and goodbye.